Extremely hot here in Sacramento, California, but I will still make this video from the comfort of my home. Yesterday, a trio of indicators showed that the U.S. economy is waking up from its slumber. What are those indicators? Consumer prices. They jumped from 0.6% from April to May, within a month, and 5% from last year, the fastest annual increase since 2008. Some of the industries that are driving up the prices are airfare, food, beef industry, yummy, household furnishings, boosted by a record price increase for floor coverings. I can only imagine, with everybody staying at home, you're wearing out those carpets sooner than you should. But mostly used vehicles, which accounted for a third of May's total price hikes. And analysts suggest that with all the stimulus money floating around, it's bound to increase car prices. And with also the shortage of goods and services to produce and manufacture these cars, it will continue to go up until foreseeable future. Second indicator that shows that the U.S. economy is faring well. Jobless claims, which track the number of Americans filing for unemployment benefits, dropped for the sixth straight week to about 370,000. That's the lowest number since last March, when most businesses were forced to shut down. But keep in mind, as businesses are looking to hire, they're unable to find employment because people are still cruising on those stimulus checks and unemployment checks. And the third indicator that shows that the U.S. economy is doing well is wealth. U.S. household wealth climbed to a record of $137 trillion in quarter one, thanks to the rising values of stocks and homes. Mind you, just because somebody's stock value or home value increased doesn't mean they're necessarily rich, because they can't go to Walmart and buy groceries with that. They can't go to a dealership and buy a car with that. Until and unless they liquidate their assets, the stocks or the home, it's not really worth much to them. Yes, on paper, they're rich. When they go to get a loan at the bank, it helps them. But in most cases, it doesn't do much, other than stroke that ego. Headlines blaring that inflation is rising at its fastest pace in decades have set off alarm bells for the consumers and some prominent economists, who warn that trillions of dollars in stimulus measures and ravenous shoppers equals a recipe for runaway prices. Many experts, however, think that consumer prices have hit a peak. A few reasons why. The inflation reading compares from May of last year to May of this year, when prices were in dumps during the onset of the pandemic. When you compare prices to 2019, they just rose 2.5%. Bottom line, the economy appears to be firing on all cylinders but one, a serious worker shortage. Here's something interesting. In a memo earlier this week, Goldman Sachs told employees they had to report their vaccination status by noon yesterday. The bank has been adamant about getting people back into the office as soon as possible and said the only way to do that is by logging if, when, and what kind of vaccine the employees got. Now, according to the EEO, Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, this is legal. But what I believe is, where does it stop? Where's the line? Today you're asking about COVID vaccine, tomorrow you'll be asking about other types of vaccine, then you'll be asking about what's your religion. Are you Christian, Muslim, Jewish, atheist? And then, I know this is ridiculous, but then the managers will say, well, if you want employment, I want to sleep with your wife. I want to sleep with your daughter. Where does it stop? I feel there needs to be an onslaught of lawsuits against the EEO for determining what's legal and what's not legal. Companies should not and cannot force you to take a vaccine for the sake of employment. My employment should be dependent upon my skills, not what type of vaccine I have in my body. This is ridiculous. On Monday, a group of nurses in Houston staged a walkout after hospital they work for said they would need to get COVID vaccine or face losing their jobs. Absolutely ridiculous. The US has lost $400 billion to unemployment fraud during pandemic. Didi, a Chinese ride-hailing giant comparable to that of Uber in America, has filed for a US IPO yesterday and reported a $1.7 billion loss last year. Johnson & Johnson said the FDA has extended its vaccine expiration date by 6 weeks, which will help maintain vaccine supplies despite slipping daily vaccination rates. This is all political. Biden mentioned that they're looking to expand the expiration date. Maybe I should look into my fridge and expand the expiration date of my milk, expand the expiration date of my bread. Hey, let's just do whatever we want. Electronic Arts was breached by hackers, third major company this year, who stole internal tools and source code for some of the company's video games, including FIFA 21. The FDA ordered Johnson & Johnson to scrape 60 million vaccine doses that were made at a contractor's troubled Baltimore plant. Something interesting, Starbucks filed a trademark application to use its name on a stadium. This is a little bit unique. I'm going to the Starbucks stadium to watch a game. Spotify is discussing a licensing deal with the podcast Call Her Daddy, valued at around $20 million. I wouldn't mind being the owner of that podcast. Until next time, we're done.